going to take the North and never give it back.
So that's a good pick. You get the corner. I got to go bold, right? I got to go bold for this.
Yeah, she's got some nice long
Welcome back to the Unbearable Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're out there on YouTube, and rate that show 5 stars everywhere that you get your podcast. Make sure to download it in the link down in the comments so that you can get the show anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Just search for it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it. Also, if you haven't already, make sure to fill out the feedback form in the comments as well, in the description. For the people that listen to the shows, I want to know your feedback, and the people that watch. Fill it out, and then we'll have a drawing later on. And I don't know what it should be yet. It might be a Kyle Monangai jersey. We'll wait and see. I'm trying to think of what to have as the winning inside of that drawing. But what's going on, everybody? Today, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be breaking down, after I watched the All-22, I like to just kind of go back and kind of discuss some of the risers and fallers, and just risers, fallers, people that impressed, people that kind of stuck out. I really want to kind of break this down today, because for anyone that's out there, especially out on YouTube, some of you might have thought, well, where did our live All-22 show go? Or if you were live with us on the All-22, for those that don't know, every day after the games, I always like to do a live All-22 stream. YouTube took it down as we were actually live going with the stream. So that was fun. I think that the big reason was just because there wasn't like the cut-ups that the NFL normally does. So it was really like the entire game. So I think that's the reason why I kind of went over. But next game, I have a couple ideas that hopefully will allow us to then get back onto our normal All-22 streams and everything like that. So everyone out on YouTube, don't worry, we'll kind of get back onto that boat. But that's why today I just really wanted to go through some of the positives, the negatives, what I just kind of saw out there. So I have 5 positives on defense, 5 negatives on defense, 5 positives on offense, and 5 positives and negatives, both on the offensive side. So let's get into it. Squeegee, what is good? Bear down to you too, my friend. Let's get this going and let's break down some of my favorite players. So I know a lot of people want to know about the offense, so I want to keep that towards later on in the end, as more people kind of hop on the stream. But let's get into the defense. So yet again, I pulled up the All-22, watched every single snap, and the big thing I wanted to look at was the defensive backs and the linebackers, because when we watch the live games, yeah, we know Austin Booker's awesome, right? So I can throw Austin Booker as one of the positives. He was so good, he's not even on the positives list, right? Like, there's a million shows out there that have like the highlights of it. He was great. We all know that. So I really wanted to go through people not named Austin Booker, because yeah, he looked great. And I want to say, actually, I'll say one other thing about Austin Booker, because when I talked about this right after the game, right? When we did that initial breakdown, I did mention how Austin Booker to me is someone that, like, we saw this in preseason. I think a lot of us felt that way. But seeing him and actually rewatching him, he looked a lot better. And then you look at some of the other games that he played a lot better. And I know PFF grade is just one small little thing. He's never played that good of a game from a grade perspective, from a win perspective, and even on the tape, he looked better. So if we want to kind of get the hype train going, he looked a lot better than he did last season. So that is good progression that you just want to continue to see. And remember the continued progression, because that's something with, unfortunately, one of the defensive players that we will be talking about that I simply do not see. So let's first go into the defensive positives. So my 5 positive takeaways with this defense after rewatching it. Number 1, I want to go through, I was going to say Penei Sewell, Noah Sewell, and Ruben Hippolyte. I paired them together as someone that was a positive, because in the big positive one watching them was the way that they knife through the offensive line. And they are downhill players. This is what you get out of a lot of college linebackers nowadays. They're very, very downhill. And that's when watching Sewell and Hippolyte, they were just knifing through the linemen. They were making big plays. And the reason why that's so good is in that Sam linebacker role, you can expect a lot of that. You can expect them to be wanting to kind of come downhill and make some big plays. And that's exactly what they were doing. There was a couple plays where Hippolyte really kind of knifed in there, got an arm out there. But Noah Sewell was the most impressive out of those two. And I know that we were saying when we were doing our post-game show and everything, that Sewell was probably going to be the next MVP, right? The next most valuable Bear. And really, when you saw him out there, you saw the strength. You saw the speed. I thought that when he's attacking downhill, Sewell looked very impressive. Now, the next player that I want to talk about for one of the big positives is surprisingly this guy right up here. For those that are watching on YouTube, this guy has the little thumbnail, Mr. Tyreek Stevenson. That's right. You heard me right. I was not expecting Tyreek Stevenson. Now, Tyreek Stevenson did not play a million snaps out there, but every snap that he played, he seemingly was on his wide receiver. And like I said, I was really watching the defensive backs. And when I saw him with all the other defensive backs out there, with Blackwell, with who was the other person that was out there? Nashon at the other side. Tyreek Stevenson looked better. Tyreek Stevenson was on his guy. I thought he played very well. And we should root for everybody that's out there. So Tyreek was someone that I just was like, wow, I gotta let the fans know. I gotta let everyone that listens to the show knows, because like Tyreek Stevenson looked really good. And I really want to just like kind of give him his flowers, because he out of all the defensive backs, he was the best one. Just hands down. I thought he was the best in coverage, and just there's a reason why no one threw his way. He was better than Nashon Wright. He was better than Blackwell. He was better than Terrell Smith. I'll say it, right? We saw Terrell Smith break on the ball and almost get that pick six. But when you're just purely looking at how they played in coverage, when you watch the entirety of the screen, Tyreek was consistently on his man. Hats off, Tyreek Stevenson, as my second defensive positive that I kind of grabbed out there. And next, I want to actually just bring up, yet again, I'm kind of cheating with this one, like I did with my defensive players for the first one with Sewell and Hippolyte. I am going to kind of do two positives and kind of sneak into one of my negatives, but I thought Jonathan Ford was someone that was very good when it came down to the run defense side. Now you might be thinking, who the heck is Jonathan Ford? He is someone that was on the defensive tackle number 64 for the Bears. And he was someone that in the run game, yet again, I was watching every single run snap back to back to back to back to back. And Jonathan Ford was consistently someone that was at that line of scrimmage and just continuously, like, he would take on double teams. And he looked significantly better than Zach Pickens when it came down to the running game perspective. And then also, too, Chris Williams. Chris Williams, I thought, too, he's a penetrative style that I've kind of mentioned before. If you want someone penetrative, you got Chris Williams. And if you want someone that can stop the run, you got Jonathan Ford, number 64. Now, the other piece, too, is that he didn't give you a lot when it came down to the actual pass rush, but he was someone that looked good when it came down to the run stuffage of his overall play. But that was another person. Now, last two are both linebackers. So my number 4 is Swayze Bozeman. And I should have made him like the actual, thumbnail for the actual show today. But Swayze Bozeman really, really impressed me. He was someone that played like a linebacker. And when I'll talk a little bit about this with Sewell and Hippolyte, where there was some things that I didn't necessarily see with them. But with Swayze Bozeman, he moved like a inside middle linebacker, someone that is stand up, middle of the field. I thought he played very well in coverage. I thought that the way that he pursued the runs, phenomenal. There was many plays where he stopped the run, not just by being open, right? That's where some of the Sewell and Hippolyte tackles where they had the opportunity, they dove down, they made the tackle. Swayze Bozeman made the play rather than just making the tackle. He was going against offensive linemen. He was going against linebackers, multiple run stuffs, and also just played very well. He was someone that I just came away very, very impressed with. Just seems very disciplined. He seems like the type of the backup linebacker that you want to have out there. So hats off to him. Yet again, hats off to all these guys. He was someone that I was like, dang, And I just kept on watching him because he just flat out had a very, very good game. Came away very impressed. And at first I was like, I don't want him to make the team. After watching him, I want him to make the team. He's very, very good depth that you have at that linebacker position. Ron, what's good, my friend? Bear down to you too. Just going down the last little list of the defensive positives, because the final one that I wanted to take away as someone that really kind of stood out to me was Power Eccles. And linebacker, I think he got dinged up a little bit too. Now, Power Eccles, he's the undrafted rookie free agent out of North Carolina. And I'm not here to tell you that he's going to make the team and he's going to be this phenomenal linebacker. He's showing, though, what you want out of a linebacker. And when I was seeing him play, I thought that he was very good side to side. Now, there's a couple little moments that he was a little bit slow to diagnose the play. But really, the big thing with a linebacker is, can you play the position? And when I see him, it looks like he's got it. I thought that he played good. I thought he played well in coverage. Thought he played well in the run defense side of things. Like I said, couple times he was a little slow to diagnose, so kind of misstepped with a couple of the different plays. But really, you see the power. He's got some good speed. He's got good enough speed. And yeah, just came away like with him and Swayze Bozeman at the linebacker position, just really liked. So overall, defensive standouts that I did not expect. Kind of didn't expect: Sewell, Hippolyte, Tyreek Stevenson, Ford, Chris Williams, Swayze Bozeman, and Power Eccles. So totally just kind of switched it up. It went with 5, but we ended up going with like 7 or 8. But let's see what we got out here. Bears fan for life. What is good? Bear down to you as well. So let's get down to the negatives. So you might have been thinking, well, if I was giving all this hype to defensive tackles and linebackers, this is where the negatives come in. So when we talk about the defensive negatives, Carl Jones, he is fast. He's got dreads, so any dude with dreads I root for, just because it looks so cool when they're running after someone. It just looks, it's like, anyone with long hair, I root for them just because long hair in a uniform is just super cool. But Carl Jones, you could tell, like, he's not a thumper. He's not a big tackler. He's a speed guy, but still didn't look good in coverage. When he was asked to be in man, he was a little bit better because he can turn and run. But the skills of being a linebacker, I just don't see that. And that's where when I'm watching Power Eccles and I'm watching Swayze Bozeman, these guys play like linebackers. And they know how to play the position. While Carl Jones, I just didn't really see that out of him today. Yet again, this is all just one game, right? This is not doom and gloom. People have up days, people have down days. This is just me saying what I saw on tape. So that's my take. So number 1 negative, I'd say, is Carl Jones. Number 2 is then going to be Zach Pickens, because Zach Pickens, now here's the thing. Zach Pickens didn't have an awful game. It's just kind of like what I was talking about before. If you want someone that can stuff the run and be a nose tackle, I take Ford over Pickens. Now, if I want someone that's more penetrative, I would take Chris Williams over Pickens. There's 2 different flavors that you have at defensive tackle, and Pickens both is the bottom of that. So that's where I just didn't necessarily come away like too impressed with him. There's a couple good reps that he had, but yet again, he was playing more than twice the snaps of those other players too. So he's going to have more highlights. He's going to have more pops on tape, and he's going against bad competition. I just felt that, especially in the run game, Ford at least did something. Chris Williams did something in the pass game. Pickens, not so much. So he's kind of going down there as well. Let's see what's out there too. We got Muck. What is good? Bear down to you as well. We got Ron. If he grew his hair out, he'd be a Vikings cheerleader. Ron, don't want to see it, my friend. Don't want to see it. but let's keep on going with some of the negatives. Let's go to the defense. Actually, one other group that I want to talk about as a negative. So we got 2 out there. But if we go with number 3, I'm actually going to throw Sewell and Hippolyte out there as well. I might be thinking, Brad, why are they on the positives and on the negatives? Well, the positive is that at the position that they're going to be playing, Sewell and Hippolyte look really good as Sam linebackers. But if you're talking about them as middle linebackers, even a little bit on the weak side linebacker, I think they'd be better weak side linebackers. But if you're talking about them being a true middle linebacker, just did not see it. There was a couple reps, Hippolyte, bad zone coverage, just did not see that. Doesn't mean they can't do it. Hippolyte, I trust more inside like man coverage, which we run a lot of man coverage. It's just the true sit back linebackers didn't necessarily see that, like kind of going side to side. They're more of, yet again, knife in, penetrative, attacking style of linebackers rather than like what I was seeing with Power Eccles and Swayze Bozeman, more so sideline to sideline, which I just like that style a little bit more. It's more flashy to be penetrative, but the discipline, that's where sometimes it gets a little washy. So there's a couple plays that, because I think even if you look at the PFF grades, I don't think they graded too well. And that's the big reason. They made splashy plays and then bad plays. So there was hits and misses with them. So that's why they're both on my positives and on negatives. And last, I have two people on the negatives as well. And I'm going to go with Josh Blackwell, someone who I really like. And yet again, I know made a lot of plays out there. So that's where I think like a lot of us might be kind of like, wait, what? Josh Blackwell and Trey Flowers are both round out my negatives. They made a lot of plays, but when just watching the tape, there is so much cushion that each one of those guys were giving up. Yet again, you look at all the other defensive backs, I felt like they were a lot closer. Trey Flowers, Blackwell consistently were giving up a large amount of cushion to anyone that they were going against and easy receptions. So yeah, they made I think Flowers made 2 pass breakups. Blackwell made 2 good plays. But yet again, I would rather have you play how Tyreek Stevenson played today or, on Sunday where he was very tight on his coverage. Give me that, right? Give me the tight coverage, not necessarily the loose coverage and then making the tackle right afterwards. So that may be a little surprising for some, but that's why I was surprised. That's why we watch the tape. That's why we break it down. So now let's get into the offensive negatives and let's talk a little bit about this. But also, too, if you're watching, is there anyone that I missed? Or if you have any questions about how someone looks, let me know. Because, yet again, we weren't able to watch it together, which is unfortunate. Next week, I think I have a plan. But if there's any questions that you have, who look good on offense or defense, let me know down in the comments, and I can kind of help break that down a little bit for you about just what I saw. But now, let's flip over to the offense because let's talk about the negatives. And yes, some of that was gross. For those that don't know and are like, why did he just grab a cup of whiskey? Whenever it's a tradition in all 22, anytime that I say the word gross, we all drink. It's just a tradition like nothing other where we just watch. Unfortunately, our Bears have given us a lot of gross comments, a lot of gross football. So yeah, there's some fun. There's some fun that takes place during these all 22 reviews. But the offense, there was some good, there was some bad. And we'll start with the bad. Now, I love myself some Kyle Monangai. But my God. Kyle Monangai's pass blocking. I have seen a couple of the reps out there on Twitter. I have not seen someone post every pass pro that Kyle Monangai had. If I had unlimited time, I would totally just grab it, post it out there. There was at least 4 pass pro reps that I remember seeing, and all 4 of them, he got jacked up or let the guy right by. It wasn't good. And I love Kyle Monangai, and he talked about it after the game. He said that, hey, I have to push back because I think people see, Willie Gay, who just kind of destroyed him right up the middle. But there was a lot more than that. And even then, there's another play that he just kind of got tossed to the side after trying to block someone downfield after like a pass or after like a screen pass. Kyle Monangai's blocking was good. Like, he's got good form. He just needs to hit back, right? He's trying to, and he talked about it. People are bigger, people are faster. It's just physics, right? He needs to push back. It seemed like he's sitting there bracing for impact. And instead, you do need to kind of push back too. You need to give it a little bit more oomph. He just did not look good at all, pass protection. And the reason why that's so big is because Roschon Johnson has been out with his foot injury. Sounds like he's still kind of nursing that. If Monangai can block, then he kind of goes up this depth chart. He's someone that the coaches love, and we'll talk about this on positives. Spoiler alert, he's on the positives, runs phenomenally. he's someone that that pass protection was some of the worst pass protection I've ever seen. And speaking of worst pass protection, Chris Glazer. I talked about this, number 63, right guard. I talked about it right after the game, and my God, if I should just look up his every rep. I've never seen a worse blocker in my life. And some of you might, and I know whenever I say something bad about someone, sometimes there are people out there that take offense. They're like, well, you've never been in the NFL, and that's right. But the thing is I go back to what Tyson Bagent said, where Tyson Bagent said when he's in the huddle, he wants everyone else to be on their P's and Q's. He wants people to be attentive because he's like, these are my reps to really kind of show what I can do. And the thing that got me mad actually watching Chris Glazer was he was so bad, the quarterbacks could not play. And that's the thing where I'm like, I do not call for people's jobs, but he should not be out there. Like, he really shouldn't, because I was a little frustrated because we couldn't see Tyson Bagent, we couldn't see Case Keenum play the way that they should, because there was consistent pressure right up the middle because this Chris Glazer just kept getting whooped. And I think his PFF grade was like 15 or like 13. It was awful. And literally putting on the tape, I want to say seriously, like, he gave up pressure over 50% of the time. Like, it was unheard of at the right guard spot altogether. So to me, Chris Glazer, biggest negative that's out there. So that's my feeling overall, is that, like, just when you talk about negatives, yes, I'm talking about a backup, but my God, I just had to re-emphasize that. But also, going down more negatives that are out there too, the left tackle battle. And I know that for everyone on YouTube, you might have seen my thumbnail that has the left tackles. To be honest, a lot of my thumbnails, I just am like, oh crap, what should I do, right? And I'm like, okay, I'll just do like the all-22 review. People want to know about the left tackles, right? And after the game, I talked about, like, I didn't feel good about the left tackle situation. And I'm here to tell you, it still didn't feel great. And now, to be honest with you, when watching the whole tackle situation, if you could, you could probably use AI for this. If you used AI and made all the tackles, left tackles, right tackles, look the same. So you did not know who each tackle was, if it was Theo Benedict, if it was Josh Miles, or if it was, or Josh Mills, or, or anyone else like Ozzie Trapillo. If you couldn't tell who they were, I don't think you would see a big difference between the different offensive linemen. Now, I've seen people out there that are like, wow, Ozzie Trapillo was significantly more dominant. I think you're just kind of like comparing, it's the South Park joke when they're like talking about like elections, how every year for an election, you have a giant douche and a turd sandwich that you're voting for. Like, that's kind of how it feels, what we saw, like what I saw on tape, because Ozzie got whooped a lot. And now, it wasn't as noticeable, don't get me wrong, but putting on the tape, don't get it twisted. He's going against the backups of the backups, and he was still letting stuff through. It did not make me feel settled. And I'm saying this not to crap on Ozzie, but just to more so say what I saw. And to me too, I just felt like, when watching it, it made me feel like you got to go with Braxton, because if you had that magical filter, Braxton at least looks, he feels more there. And yet again, we're talking about Braxton Jones here. I'm not talking about, a Hall of Fame left tackle or anything like that. That's where I'm just a little bit nervous with this situation. And my biggest hope, right? So what's the light at the end of the tunnel? Because I just crapped on everyone's, ice cream sandwich. The big thing is Braxton, to me, he's unhealthy. And that's my biggest piece that I just want to say, is that I think Braxton, the best hope, if you want to think about hope, obviously you want the rookie to be as great as possible. It takes time for a rookie to develop. Right now, I think Braxton getting healthy is something that we really do need to get something of competency at the left tackle spot. Yet again, one game, right? It's one game. I am simply reporting what I watched, what I saw, and I just did not come away impressed. And anyone else that's like, oh, if anyone's out there like, oh, Ozzie Trapillo's the greatest, like, I don't know what they're seeing. I really don't know what they're seeing right now. So we'll see what ends up happening. But then too, I see that there's a couple questions out there. I'll just kind of wrap up the offensive negatives and we'll continue going because then we got to break down some positives, right? I'm being a negative Nancy over here. So now we got to go, we'll switch over to the positives, but some negative pieces too, just kind of continuing with the offensive line. The run blocking was just kind of poor all the way around. I watched the passing reps first, and I really liked some of the passing reps, minus Chris Glazer. I thought a lot of people had some good reps. Yet again, there were still some breakdowns with Braxton. There were still some breakdowns with Ozzie. And one other person too, McFadden. They're like the left guard, right guard, number 74. He was someone that kind of, Jordan McFadden was someone that I'm like, hey, the dude was holding his own. Not like he's going to be a starter. He might not even make the practice squad, but he was someone that I thought was solid. And then the other thing too is that like when we go, let me go down to my negatives. Yeah, the pass blocking I thought was solid, but the run blocking, it just kind of reminded me like, hey, we got to make sure that our starters at the running game are really all together because we went from our run blocking to their run blocking a lot more jointed, a lot more together. Us, not so much. Yet again, it's more practice as a unit. So I would love to see the ones. I think that the ones are going to be out against Kansas City, but not next week. But it's something that they need to get those reps. Yet again, we're watching the backup offensive line, but I thought run blocking was a little bit poor. And then last but not least, my last negative before we go out to your questions in the comments. And yet again, anyone watching on YouTube, let me know if there's a player that you're curious about, and I will answer what I saw when I did the breakdown. Next, my last negative is Durham Smythe and Carlson. The two tight ends, our third and fourth string tight ends, just the run blocking was really awful. Seemed very confused. Durham Smythe made some really bad plays. He made the drop. Just came away very unimpressed. But let me see. Okay. We'll talk tight ends a little bit later. Hint, hint for some of the positives. Because don't worry, there's a light at the end of the tunnel with those tight ends as well. But let's see what y'all have to say out there. Bears fans for life saying special teams coverage sucked. It did. It really did. And let's see what we got. Ron's out on vacation. Cheers, my friend. Hope you're doing well. And then saying too, is Tyson going to make the team? Definitely. I still stand by. I think that Tyson is going to be the easy backup. You're going to have Case Keenum as a practice squad player. I just can't see like Keenum wanting to go anywhere else or like getting signed off of the practice squad or, but I just can't see even like Austin Reed staying on, especially since Ben Johnson likes big arm quarterbacks. Reed just doesn't necessarily have that. And then Ron saying, will Tyler Scott make the team? So Tyler Scott, I was actually going to, believe it or not, I was actually going to put him on my positives, but I found more positives out there. Tyler Scott was actually, you see the speed when he's running. And yet again, did not run a whole bunch of routes out there, but I liked what I saw out of at least like some of the reps. But again, it was like 5 routes or something. But you do see the speed. He has some incredible speed. It's still a question of just like catching. I would, overall, though, do I think he makes the team? I think with the new regime, I think it's going to be a very big uphill battle for him, especially since you're seeing other wide receivers getting a lot more reps and a lot more catches than him. But let's see other things too. J2K, what's good? So yeah, just going through some of these pieces, but let's see. All right. And then I see the question about Newman. So let's go through Newman because one of my offensive positives is actually I feel a lot better about the interior depth of this offensive line. And the big reason is because I thought Ryan Bates, pretty good pass coverage. Yet again, run blocking for everyone, not as great. So, but it made me feel good knowing that Ryan Bates can play center. Ryan Bates can play guard, as we already know. But also, Newman was someone that I really liked. And I was pleasantly surprised. And I thought that he played really well. Now, the thing that Newman, I felt struggled with, Luke Newman, he's the, we drafted him in the 5th or 6th round out of Michigan State. He played some left guard, played some right guard. And there was a couple of times that he was kind of like confused as to where to block. But also, he did really struggle with some stunts, which us Bears fans were like, just get the people out there that know how to handle stunts. But besides the stunting and everything, he was very good in pass protection. I really yet again, very surprised at the level that he played with in pass pro. So it made me feel a lot more comfortable because that was something that I was nervous about, is you need someone else to kind of step up. And it seems like, yet again, this is one game, but Luke Newman, he looked good. He looked good. So it's something to feel good about when I was watching him. So overall, like that, made me feel a little bit more comfortable about the depth of this interior of the offensive line. But then also too, as we kind of go through this, I see curious about Monangai. So positives, Monangai's vision. I saw Ben Solak tweeted this out, and this was one of the plays where you see Monangai get, big 10-yard gain or whatever. So it was a handoff to the left side. And you see everybody kind of hat on hat. Everything's good on that side. And he's really kind of leaning to the left. Now, the way that the play is set up is that you can kind of go right up that left-hand side, or you can kind of cut it back down the middle. That's exactly what Monangai did. And he just, the vision. Now, when watching him, he's not a mover. And what I mean by mover is he's not the long speed guy, and he's not someone who is like, if you're just at a goal line stand, I don't think he's going to plow through someone. He's a open field. He's a running back. He's a running back, right? He's not like what Roschon Johnson, you can use him as a battering ram. I don't think you do that with a Kyle Monangai. Monangai he's a fighter. He will not go down when there's a guy on him or anything like that. He played very well. And just seeing his vision and just seeing even when plays broke down, because on one of them, someone's screaming off the edge, unblocked, and he was still able to break that tackle. And that's what we saw at Rutgers. Consistently, people would smack him as soon as he got the ball. And it was just like, this is exactly what we saw out of him in college, and he did that on tape. So Kyle Monangai is one of my positives. His pass pro is on the negative side, but his overall vision, his overall play, just very positive. Very, if you want a running back, that's where his running backness is going up. But then with him being a backup, you would like to see him more inside of that pass protection. So maybe he's a first down running back, and then you have Swift as more of a second and third. That's kind of the way that I would go about it, just because I think Monangai really can kind of tire out that defense, because he's going to find the hole and he's not going to go down. But then the next thing too, I really like Luther Burden. Now, not here to say that he's going to be the superstar, or you know what? We can hype it up. We'll say he's going to be a superstar. But if I was Tyson Bagent or any of the backups that play with Luther Burden, just throw the ball to Luther Burden. I don't know why you're throwing it to anybody else, right? The first read should be Luther Burden, and that should be it. Luther Burden got open. He just got open. And it's not that he's running these sick routes where he's like twisting the people's ankles over and crossing them over. He's just he's a better receiver than anyone else that was out there. You saw it. And that was something that just made me feel a lot more comfortable, was you see that he can run these good routes. They're not insanely crisp or anything like that, because you don't know what breed they're in, but he looks like an NFL wide receiver. That running routes that you want to see out there as he's running with the backups, everything like that. So that's where I'm like, just give it to Luther. There was multiple times that he was open. He actually could have had a touchdown, but Bagent ended up going underneath. It would have been a difficult throw, but Burden got open. I liked him. I thought that he looked really good. So that was someone to me, Luther Burden, just good stuff. And then the other thing too is two other people that really kind of stood out to me. One was tight end Joel Wilson. And this is the person that Ben Johnson called out as someone that was impressing him. And he's someone that when it's always hard to kind of watch tight ends on all 22, unless they screw up in run blocking. But like I was saying, Durham Smythe and Stephen Carlson, both of those players were really kind of bugging me because they weren't blocking well. There was a couple of reps that they were just very, very slow out their routes. And then you see Joel Wilson, this tight end, go out there, and he's running hard as he's running these routes. He's blocking well too. There was a couple of reps that he was going against a defensive end, and he blocked well. And yet again, he's going against lesser competition, but it was good to see someone be like, okay, you're trying. You're really like out, not saying they did not try at all, but you just saw how much he wanted it out there. And Joel Wilson was someone that just definitely did turn my head when I was watching him play. So that's something that I really liked, really liked about Joel Wilson. And then last but not least, this guy up here, even though that he looked slower, Ian Wheeler. Ian Wheeler's still a fighter. He's still a good running back. I like him over Hankins. I saw that there was some Hankins talk out there as well. But I still think that like Ian Wheeler, he gives you some upside. Still going to be more of a practice squad type of player. Not going to make the active roster or anything like that. But he's someone that I did really like seeing. And you just see the fight in him anytime he gets the ball. He's got speed. He's got long hair. So anytime that there's any player with long hair, you're okay by me. But really, Ian Wheeler, though, he's got the speed. He's got the fight. And just got to continue to root for him. So that's my list of positives and negatives that are out there. And let me see if there's any other questions out there, too, that we have. But yeah, so let's see what else we got. Yeah, just some talk about Manungai. And yeah, J2K, like I agree. Like he would, Kyle Manungai was a good pass protector in college. But yeah, I think that is just like the size. I think he definitely had some welcome to the NFL moments where you got this this huge dude running at you full speed. It's gonna take him out, right? Then I got a question about Bill Murray. Yeah, Bill Murray banged up, injured right now. So then he was out there, captured by a ghost. Yes, most definitely. And then yeah, I think Bill Murray more so banged up. And I do agree with you, Muck Muck. Yeah, Wheeler looking a little bit slower. That's something that I agree to. I think that he's looking slightly slower, but still, Ian Wheeler's still fighting out there. So lesser version of himself, but still playing well. Let me see any other things that are still on my list. Nashon Wright, I just kind of going back to the defense. Nashon Wright was someone that couple good run stuffs and played well. He played in the slot a little bit, just I think like 1 or 2 reps. But then going over to the offense, let me see if there's anybody else that is out there. Yeah, it was a good game, right? They had ups, there's downs, but that's kind of like my overall list. And now the last little bit that I want to talk about is just the position battles. Just to kind of like do a little bow on this, just to kind of like recap. If we're talking about the position battles, if we're talking about the left tackle spot in particular, I would actually say Braxton has from what I saw, I would give it to Braxton. I know that that's a hot take. I know some people are not going to like that. I know some people are going to downvote me. So please, if you're watching right now, throw a little thumbs up because, it's yet again, it's saying something that's bad versus bad. Which one is slightly better? That's the biggest thing is that Braxton to me is someone that I think that he's our biggest hope at the left tackle spot. Not giving up on Ozzie altogether. He's got a lot of room to grow and other things like that. But I just didn't come away like, you want this guy to be your starting left tackle? Like, I just didn't get, I don't get where like there's like imaginary hype that people are like, yeah, he won. It's like, no, they both didn't play well against backups. But I think Braxton is our best. I think Braxton is your best option, like for real. But what they choose, I think is going to be different because if Braxton's still not healthy, I think then they will go with Ozzie. But to me, I thought Ozzie looked better. I thought Braxton looked slightly better, but yet again, they both weren't good. And then we have Manungai for running back. Yet again, I think that he's going to get more reps as a running back, but the pass pro thing kind of brings him down. I think that if they want to try to do more committee running back, then yes. And I think that's where they're going to maybe hand it off to him more. But the whole pass pro thing, short yardage situations, I still think that they're going to be looking at Roschon Johnson. And then also too with Pickens, like I said before, I just think that Pickens did not separate himself from the Fords, from Williams or anything like that. And then cornerback, yet again, this is just one game. There's all the practices mean significantly more. I thought Tyreek Stevenson played the best. Terrell Smith still played well. There was some, like not great plays out there, but yet again, one game, very, very small sample size. But Nahshon Wright played well, and also Terrell Smith, I thought, played well as well. But I think Tyreek Stevenson played the best that's out there right now. So, yet again, Tyreek is at least fighting back. That was at least something good to see, because I've said this on many shows. I'm like, why not just put Terrell Smith out there? Why not put Terrell Smith out there? Well, Tyreek's like, no, I can play. See, look, I'm playing well. So hats off to Tyreek Stevenson for that. But let's see the comments before we get out there. So like I said, if you're watching right now, make sure to hit that like button. Helps out the show tremendously. But let me see what we got out there. Muck saying Swift and Manungai only backside like. I agree there. J2K saying Benedette played well. Yeah, there was one rep. So actually, speaking of the left tackle spot, there was one rep that all of a sudden I was like, geez, Ozzie just dominated that rep. Like it was someone flying off the edge, just freaking stonewalled. And then I looked and it was Theo Benedette. I was like, holy crap. And yeah, so Theo had some of those where he can get off the snap really quick. And there was a couple reps that really kind of stood his guy up. But yeah, so let's see. What grade would you give the coaching staff after this game? All three aspects. I mean, with preseason, a little difficult to just kind of like give, because with any of this, they're not going to be showing their hand with a lot of it. I thought overall good, except for special teams. With the defense, there was a lot of man coverage out there. They didn't play a lot of zone, so that's kind of how I would play it too. If I was a coordinator as well as playing a lot of the man-to-man. But let's see. Bill Murray. Let's see what else we got out there too. Got Muck disagreeing with me, saying Ozzie will be the starter. Yeah, and then saying that he liked the way that he looked. I'm nervous. Like, I'm not raising the complete alarm bells with the left tackle spot, but there just wasn't a lot of like, wow, yeah, like none of the, and you can also look at the PFF grades too. The grades weren't great. And just even watching, like when I was watching, it wasn't anything to be like, there wasn't anything to be proud of. Yet again, if you go to the other side, Josh Mills, I don't know why I'm like blanking on his name. But it's like, there wasn't a big separation between like those two, right? That, between Ozzie and him. So that was something that I just like, yeah. Let's see. And Squeegee's saying, in hindsight, would you have let the starters play a few series? I am a fan of putting in the starters. I would like to see the starters out there. What I think the Bears are going to do, I feel like I would be shocked if they didn't do this. I think that they're not going to play the starters for next week. I think they're going to, because they have the Bills coming, they're going to be, with the Bills, they're going to practice with the Bills. They're going to do the same thing, joint practice, and then exactly what they did this week, where on Monday, next day, they just basically had only the starters out there having their own separate group practice. So I think that they're going to bench them and not have them play this week. And then I think that they're going to have then the starters get ready that week 3 versus the Chiefs. I think that's what they're going to end up doing. And I would bet on that. So I would play them though, because my biggest fear is that you're hearing more and more and more about what's coming out is that it's one of the concerns. And I know whenever we do our all 22, something that always showed up was Caleb did process a little bit slow. Not as slow as Justin Fields. Like Justin Fields was the worst at it. Like he was very casual with his reads. Caleb shows that, right? He's still learning. He's still a slow processor. Like he goes through his reads, but he's not like pulling the trigger with some of these things. And it's sounds like that's kind of something that's continuously going on at camp as well. So I think that that's where I'd put him in. He needs more reps. He needs more action. He needs more stuff like that. So that's my take on it overall. And then let's see out there. And then, but yeah, I see J2K 100% agree. There's the Ozzie hype. And I think that's the thing that is kind of, I think that's the thing is like the Ozzie hype, right now. Like there's the wave of like what we should think as Bears fans. And I think that there's a lot of Ozzie hype because a lot of people want him to be really good. And he's a good rookie, right? He's solid. But like I've said, he got like my expectation for him this year is like Dan Skipper. Like that's his floor. That's what I think he's going to be playing like. And anything plus is like kind of extra gravy. So, yeah, after seeing him for the first time, it was underwhelming yet again. One game. So, other things too. When is Karan coming back? No clue. He just always seems to be dinged up. So yeah, let's see. Squeegee saying, I can't understand. We have a new staff, new players, a new playbook. Why not give them life? Yeah, exactly. I think that's part of it too. Is it's the concept of like, why not both? It's like it's that meme of because I saw so many things online saying, well, the live practice reps are so great, right? That's what you need. You need the live reps, and those are better. It's like, yeah, they are. But why not both? Why not give them the live reps? Why not also give them the actual game reps as well? And that's kind of like, yet again, I thought of the exact same thing with the offensive line. I saw on Twitter, people are like, who won? Ozzie, Braxton, who's the winner? And it's like, who's worse? And it's like, unfortunately, why not both, right? So hopefully next week will be better. That's what we'll hope for. But then also, hopefully, too, we'll be able to actually stream the all 22 like what we were hoping for. Yet again, I thought it was actually kind of fun with everyone who ended up making it for like the short 10-minute stream. And then all of a sudden everything goes dark and says, you cannot stream or like something with the copyright. But it was a blast. It was a blast nonetheless. Best 10 minutes ever. But make sure to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell if you're out there on YouTube. Also, if you don't want to see my face, you can download the podcast everywhere that you get your podcast. Search for Unbearable Sports and you can download that. I'll see you all real soon. And with that, Unbearable Sports Podcast, we are out.
Yeah, she's got some nice long hair and you know that she's a